Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Hasbro Power Rangers Lightning Collection Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Morphed Donatello and Morphed Leonardo action figures. And geez, that's a mouthful. Whew. The TMNT first appeared in Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 from Mirage Comics in May of 1984. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers first appeared as Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger in Japan on February 21st, 1992, and then actually as Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in America on August 28th, 1993. And now these particular versions of these characters are based off of the books that Boom Studios put out back in December of 2019. Real quick about the art, one thing that kind of bothers me a little bit is that the art is flipped because the straps are on the wrong side of the wrong turtles, and it's kind of a weird thing. But, other than that, the box art's fine, and it goes in line with the Lightning Collection box art that they had going for a very long time, which I loved, but, what can you do? All right, so let's get these figures free from their plastic prison and see what we think about Morphed Leo and Don. Okay, so these look fantastic. They literally look like they just jumped off the page, and I absolutely love the look of these figures. I mean, the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suits are classic and great on their own, but beef them up a little bit and add a front and back golden shell, and that just adds to their coolness. And I mean, now granted, I am particularly more of a fan of the less musculature Power Rangers, like how we got the Bandai toys in America that had you could see their abs and everything. I much prefer the like SH Figuarts style of Power Rangers where it's just kind of flat, like there's not really any definition of the muscles, especially in the chest area, but still something about like just making them a little bit bigger, beefier, I guess, like just gives it a little bit more gravitas, if you will, or like, I don't know, it just feels a little bit more substantial, but maybe that's just me. And they look pretty much just like they do in the books. Like, at least very much so to where I'm happy with it. They feel great. They're nice and chunky. They do feel like a Hasbro figure, though, which is not a bad thing at all. It's just that they definitely have that feeling after, doing so many NECA reviews here on this channel. Like, messing around with a Hasbro figure, there are definite differences in toy companies if you're new to collecting. Not all toy companies are the same, and that's not to say good or bad. I mean, well, it is to say good or bad. It's there's good and bad to both of it, but in this case, I definitely think it's a good thing because they just feel like a Hasbro figure, which usually means that all the joints work and don't usually break. The only problem is you might have a little bit of gumminess in some of the joints, but other than that, like, that's pretty good. The sculpt is excellent. Given that, again, the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suits generally are pretty flat as far as like design. It's just mostly like color, with the exception of the helmet and the belt. Like, with the exception of the helmet and the belt, there's not really much there. However, the shell on these figures adds some very nice detail that just helps it pop. And I think the biggest draw, though, like I mentioned, is the helmets. Like, with the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suits, the helmets are a pretty big like draw because that's where, like I just said, all the detail is. And they did an excellent job here with these, and they just look fantastic. The paint on mine are well done. The colors pop on their own, but are totally accented to new heights with the gold shell. I'm not sure, though, how I feel about the white shoulder strap that goes across the chest, at least in regards to paint. It's not bad at all from like a design standpoint or anything like that. It sort of muddies the design a little bit, I think, or it takes some of your attention away in a weird way that's different than the turtles that don't have it. But I understand that it's necessary for the sheaths on their back and design wise. I get it. In spite of that, I absolutely love that it runs from the belt through the diamond on the chest and then back around. That's an excellent design choice, and I really appreciate it. And I don't dislike it. It's just different. It's just weird. And the one thing that's kind of neat that I didn't realize until taking the photos for these figures is that the diamond has a little plug thing on it that you pop into a hole in their chest, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's how they keep it in there. Instead of it being centered on the waist, it's in the chest there. So, but unfortunately, my Leo one has a tendency to come out, but that's a pretty easy fix if I wanted to do that. But it doesn't really bother me that much. And then the only other thing that comes up in most 6-inch, 1/12 action figure scale figures are the very, very small details of the morpher get a little bit kind of like jumbled up. Now, granted, I mean, what's here is sufficient, I guess, especially considering the price point. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm being too lenient on that, but that does tend to suffer a lot on a lot of these action figures in this scale. The other parts of the character and of the figure, like the figure looks so cool, and all the other elements of it, you kind of overlook it after a while, or you just don't even notice it to begin with. I don't know, but just in reviewing this figure, that is definitely something that didn't get as much detail as one would hope. But it is pretty par for the course for Power Rangers figures, which is sad because it's such an integral part of their whole gimmick, but whatever. Both turtles come with multiple alternate hands, and both turtles come with an unhelmeted head. Leo comes with his katana blades, and they could be merged to form the Power Lance, which looks cool, but I much prefer him to hold them separately. And then Leo also comes with a blast effect piece for his weapon as well. Donatello comes with the Power Axe, as well as his bow staff merged with the Power Axe, and a blast effect piece for his weapon. And if you were wondering, the Power Axe does slide to be the power cannon gun. I forget the Power Axe cannon. I forget what they call it, but when Zach could, or Adam, I guess, could turn the axe into a gun to form the thing where they put all their weapons together and they all touch shoulders and their power channels through it. Whatever that thing was called, I forget. Please forgive me. But this axe can do that as well. It can move back and forth, which is really cool. All right, now let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of morphed Leonardo. So starting at the head, got 360 at the neck. You do have a joint, or at least the head's on a ball in the upper part of the neck, but in the lower part of the neck, it is on a joint, a ball joint, I guess, as well, or at least some sort of joint. So you get some wiggle room, which is fantastic. And yeah, the heads on these figures are great as far as articulation is concerned. He can look up a little bit, but it is impeded by the shell armor right there, but it's still a considerable amount. And then he can look down just a little bit, not quite as much as you might like, but still enough. Starting at the arms, let's see. We got the butterfly joint in the chest, armpit area. You got 360 at the shoulder. You got 360 at the bicep. Also, the shoulder goes up a considerable amount as well. You got double jointed elbows. You got 360 at the wrist as well as the joint that is there. And then moving on to the chest, there is the chest cut for the ab crunch and everything, but it's kind of impeded by the armor on both sides, so you're not going to get a lot of action out of that, but it is still there. And then you also have some waist swivel, which is 360 at the waist. And then you get awesome 360, not 360, what am I talking about? Excellent range of motion and split Van Damme style, articulation right there with the legs. You get thigh swivel. You get double jointed knees. You get the calf cut as well as a ankle rocker, and that I do believe is all the legs can kick out quite a bit. I always forget about that, so can't really go back too much, but they can go out considerable. Well, I guess I did that with the splits, but anyway, never mind. This is the articulation, all the articulation that you're going to get out of this morphed Leonardo, and I'm fairly certain, considering that, because it's the same mold, so that is all the articulation you're going to get out of morphed Donatello as well. And now, according to, me, I guess, because so many different versions of these characters exist, so things, height and scale and weight kind of vary all over the place in the TMNT history. But generally speaking, and much to my own preference, the turtles are usually around 4'5" to 5'5", somewhere in that range. All four of them, like, usually Donatello's the taller one and Mikey's the shortest one, generally speaking. But I tend to prefer my turtles shorter, so somewhere in that is probably going to be sufficient. And I found that generally people tend to agree that they are around 180 pounds. These figures, however, stand at 6 inches tall and weigh between 5 and 6 ounces. So now let's see how they compare to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here they are with Hasbro's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Lightning Collection Goldar. Here they are with SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Evil. Here they are with NECA's Mirage Comics Fugitoid. Here they are with NECA's Mirage Comics Splinter. Here they are with Funko's The Rocketeer. Here they are with Jazzware's Agent Peely. Here they are with NECA's 1987 animated series April O'Neil 2.0. Here they are with NECA's 1987 animated series Donatello. Here they are with NECA's Return to New York Leonardo. Here they are with Super 7's TMNT Ultimates Donatello. Here they are with the NECA Mirage Comics knockoff colored bandana Leonardo figure. Here they are with Jada Toys Mega Man. Here they are with Marvel Legends Japanese Spider-Man. Here they are with G.I. Joe Classified Storm Shadow. Here they are with NECA's Alf. Here they are with Mattel's Masterverse Roboto. Here they are with NECA's 1987 animated series Casey Jones figure. Here they are with Figma's Gloria. Here they are with Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Black Ranger. And here they are with Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin Blue Ranger. Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, two things that are awesome on their own and apparently really cool together. And thankfully, IDW and Hasbro decided to make this happen, and it turned out to be really good. The comic is a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I am looking forward to hopefully more figures from those lines, because the Ninja Rangers are awesome, or whatever they're called, the Shadow Morphs, I forget, but they're really cool. And I don't know, I'm just a big fan of the way that they've handled this crossover. Now, this is not the first time that the Turtles and the Power Rangers have crossed over. In fact, that goes all the way back to the late 90s, where the Ninja Turtles Next Mutation TV show and Power Rangers in Space, if I'm not mistaken, combined and had a two-parter, I think. And that was really cool to my recollection, but I only remember watching it really as a kid. And so I thought it'd be neat to review these figures, even though I know they've been out for a while, in line with my podcast, Turtle Soup, where we're actually reviewing Ninja Turtles The Next Mutation, and we're coming up on the episodes where the Turtles do cross over with the Power Rangers. And I thought, I don't know, that'd be kind of neat to do it on both channels at the same time, sort of. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. But one thing I do know is that these figures look awesome, and I want to talk about them. So let's go. So these figures are just so cool. Like, I mean, just having them mint on card is cool. Standing them in a vanilla pose is cool. Having them in hand is cool. I'm just so much of a fan of this mashup, and these figures are an excellent representation of what the books had on the page, as well as what a proper amalgamation of these two properties should look like. Looks-wise, they are just as striking as the MMPR suits are on their own, but then you realize that they have the gold shell and armbands. Oh my goodness. It literally just hit me that all the details in the Turtles' shell armor is a play off the dragon shield. Oh my goodness. Like, I mean, I understood that it looked like it, but the gold armbands kind of drove it home for me. And then, writing it here and saying it out loud, just, I don't know, just it hit differently seeing the armbands, and that's just wild to me. I don't know, I just had not fully contextualized it in that sense. And they probably do in the story. I can't remember. It's been a minute since I've read it. But realizing that it's actually the same suit essentially as what the other Rangers get whenever they donned the dragon shield. They would get the gold armbands. And that's just really cool. That's just what made it click for me. Like, obviously, I understood that they had a gold shield on their chest and their shell. Like, I get that. But the diamond and everything, I don't know, just it all just came together as I'm reviewing this now. And so anyway, that just makes me love them even more. I love the size and chunkiness of these guys. They're not too big, but just the right size, and they are super fun to play around with. They definitely feel like a Hasbro figure, which is kind of a weird feeling as a primarily NECA TMNT collector, but I love it. I'm a big fan of Hasbro's 6-inch lines, and if you're familiar with those, then these won't be that different for you. The TMNT head sculpts are great. They look fantastic, and I'm really glad that they've included them, but they're a little difficult to put on, the unhelmeted heads, but that's not really why I'm keeping them off. It's just that I just think they look a lot cooler with them on. I love Donatello's weapons. The power axe is a little weird and gummy, especially when trying to get him to hold it, but once it's in, it's fine. And his power axe staff, bow staff, whatever you want to call it, is really great and looks really cool on his back and or in his hands, just holding it. Leo's katanas are cool and they look good, but I didn't like the look of them together as the power lance. The plastic just seemed a little too loosey-goosey, I guess. I don't know. But when they're separate, like, they look fine and I like them. I love the power effects that all these Power Rangers Lightning figures come with, although I found myself rarely using them, but that's mostly just because I'm lazy and don't have them readily accessible because I keep all my accessories in like a separate thing, and that's just my fault. But what we got is really cool, and I'm super glad that they include them with all of these figures in the Lightning collection. Overall, these look great, they feel great, they pose great, and they play great. They go well with the Lightning collection Power Rangers figures that you might already have, and they look awesome with them. They can also go with some of the other Turtles figures that NECA has put out and some other action figure lines that you might have, and they're just really cool on their own. So if you're a fan of either of these properties, you are not going to be disappointed with these figures. If you're in need of more Power Rangers Lightning collection figures that are just a little bit out of the ordinary, then these will do the trick. If you're a Turtles fan that loves the Green Machine and different clothing, then these will probably do something for you. Or if you just want to own the physical representation of a 90s kid's what-if dream in action figure form, then I think you'll be very happy picking these up. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy this comic? Is this what you always imagined Power Rangers and Turtles teaming up and having a mashup would be like? So hit me up in the comments with all that. And then also, if you want to hear me talk about the Turtles even more, you can go check out my podcast, Turtle Soup, where my co-host Ryan and I have been talking about the Ninja Turtles for like well over 10 years on our podcast. In the midst, right now as I'm recording this, of reviewing the live-action Next Mutation series and really enjoying it. So come check that out if you've never seen it or you just want to find out more about that. TurtleSoupShow.com, or check us out here on YouTube. And until then, else time.